the media have power to, let's say, destroy your company. Stochastically, maybe one article will not do it, but 10 articles from different media might do it. And in that case, it's kind of important, like what kind of people are in your social supply chain.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Mtambo podcast. My name is Jakub Mtambo, and today I have a pleasure of talking again to Jakub Simek, a co-founder of Se2 and an author of Wisdom Enterprising. With Jakub, we'll discuss his recent article on social scam. And here is Jakub. Welcome, Jakub, again on the podcast.
Hi, Duke. Good to see you.
Okay, good to see you too. Well, you recently wrote an article about social scams and how they are worse than financial scams. Can you maybe tell us more about that?
Right. So it's like another Balajism, like a social scam. It's like financial scam, but it doesn't involve money, but it's like involves prestige, So like it's like some things can go like a pump and dump scheme. So if you search some like the current thing, that's like the meme, the current thing meme. It's itself a meme. Mark Andreessen like shared it, kind of popularized it like among this part of Twitter, like the tech Twitter, but like okay, it's like a popular meme. And it's basically about it can be visualized actually using Google Trends, and it kind of looks like a pump and dump if you look at the graph, so yeah, I mean, it could be like defund the police, let's say, it's like a meme, and it's of course it was like in the context of the summer 2020, but it hit like 100, I don't know, 100% or points on Google Trends, and then it looks like a ski slope and it goes down. Even it's like what Balaji says basically, that anything that is kind of becoming very popular in the US, it's kind of spreading to the world, very very quickly. But sometimes, I mean, in the US it kind of makes sense, like to talk about like like police violence in some poor neighborhoods or communities, or like I don't know, like police brutality, or like bad kind of, let's say, practices. But it kind of gets interesting, let's say, when you have protests like all around the world, the BLM protests. And for
Yeah.
example, in the UK, there were like some also like mostly peaceful protests, but like, I don't know, some 20 policemen got injured. But the
Yeah.
interesting thing there was like people were like shouting, like hands up, don't shoot, but the funny thing is like the British policemen, they don't have guns. So it's like,
Oh, really? They don't.
no.
Okay, I
Yeah, they
didn't know
don't
about
carry
that.
guns, but they have some special like forces, like when there is some serious stuff, so they call the guys with like big rifles or something. But
Uh-huh.
the
The normal
normal
police.
they don't carry guns.
So it's funny when they say they do not shoot us.
Yeah, like a
Hands up.
hands up. Yeah. So so I mean, and then we also had we also had protests here in Slovakia, but they were kind of small, and there was like one celebrity. I mean, yeah, he's like a Slovak, but of Mali. He's originally from Mali, but he's like a famous celebrity here. So he was speaking there, but then like a week after or something, he was like talking bad about the BLM and something. So it was like, just, I don't know. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was. I mean, I wasn't following it closely, but it was. But okay, this is not about BLM or something like it. This is kind of besides the point. It's like happening. You can take any current thing, and it's kind of like people are trying to get prestige, like based on it. Like it's sometimes totally out of context. Let's say as the example of the British police not carrying guns and demonstrators shouting at them.
Mm-hmm.
But the major issue is like, okay, it's like people are trying to get prestige, like being kind of uh discussing the current thing on Twitter. But it's kind of like also what Balaji calls like Twitter maximalism, so it's like maximizing the engagement on Twitter, often like I mean, it's some kind of virtue signaling maybe, but then the main point is that it's like it goes to the 100 and then it goes down, and then people are on the next current thing, and it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of maybe not healthy because it's like school of fish strategy, and it's like let's say like us too, like we are interested in crypto or Web3, Bitcoin, and we don't care if it's like the current thing, if
Yeah.
let's say we are interested in network states or in crypto during the crypto winter and crypto summer, it's just like kind of dedicated to like the issue, like
Yeah.
okay, it's like okay, it's time to build, even if it's like a bear market or something, it's like yeah, I mean, to be passionate about something or dedicated, it means like you persevere also during when it's not the current thing, or
Yeah.
you can even be like counter mimetic kind of yeah. So that's like the broader point. But like many people are kind of behaving similarly to the like the crypto scams or pump and dump schemes, because I mean they're just doing it to ride the wave, the prestige wave. But once the current thing is something else, they just abandon it, and it's not healthy, it's because
Yeah.
it goes from 100 to zero, and people get like a bit betrayed. It's like let's say the current thing was Ukraine, and now it's not anymore. Very imagine few months it might be totally like like nobody
Uh,
cares about Iraq
or
or let's say
Putin
Afghanistan.
Putin get
Yeah.
arrested, in South Africa because of the BRICS will be having their annual, I don't know, meeting at Cape
Okay.
Town. So,
Ah.
but South Africa is part of the ICC, so, and the ICC issued the warrant to arrest Putin. So, so we people are still wondering if Putin will still go to South Africa. So, yeah, so that could shift again, from Ukraine war to now.
Ah. Okay. Okay.
Uh,
Interesting. Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think they will arrest him. I'm not sure, but I don't think they will.
They will not. I think they will not arrest him, but the pressure they'll have. Actually, they already started. They wanted to pull out themselves from ICC, from being a member of ICC, but unfortunately, I think the process was too hard. So they stated again, we are not pulling out South Africa. So still, people are still waiting for what will happen. Of course, nothing big will happen, to South Africa, but of course they'll have those pressure, maybe of get sanctioned by US or something like that. But I think they don't care still because now they are part of the BRICS, bloc. So yeah, but yeah, that could change. I mean, the narrative from the Ukraine and to now Putin being arrested.
Yeah, but okay, yeah, but it's a good example, but I mean, it still kind of involves Ukraine, But like, let's say if Balaji is right, which is like the
Mhm.
scariest word, like three words in English. Balaji
Yeah.
was right, So, but if he's right, I mean, it's at least like directionally. So let's say it's not in month, but let's say in 2 years there will be like, or 1 year, or let's say half year, there will be some big recession,
Mhm.
even depression, economic like breakdown, much worse than 2008. Then I think very quickly the Ukraine for I mean, I think like it's they're our neighbors, so like we are passionate for them. So it will, yeah, but the US will just forget it. I think they
Yeah,
will
it's
just either
yeah, I think it's
they,
just the
they,
same example as
yeah.
COVID-19, how it was forgotten very quickly with the
Yeah,
Ukraine war.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think COVID is a good example because it was like, yeah, it was like basically Balaji says that the old establishment, they have like only two modes of operation. It's like either total apathy or total panic. So it's like,
Mhm.
they were like, I don't know, in February, like they were still like, yeah, just like kind of treating it as it's just the flu, but then in March, it was like, or 6 weeks later or something, it was like total panic, and then yeah, and now it's again like back to back to total apathy. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I see. But Balaji also talks about how the current establishment is bad at spotting weak signal and capital allocation. Maybe can you elaborate what he meant by that?
Right. So it's like they're accustomed to viewing things or spotting things that are that have size of a political constituency, so let's say if it's something, it's like 10% or from between 10 to 50%, like let's say there is some phenomena, let's say, I don't know, 10% of people are interested in legalizing some issue, or changing, I don't know, something about education, or yeah, so they care about like large groups, the phenomena that are already like kind of mainstream, but like they can spot like a phenomena that are of a size of like, let's say, 0.1%, like a small kind of thing, but that it's growing rapidly, like exponentially. So like, if there were like, let's say, 5 people who got COVID in the whole country, nobody cared. But but it's like, if it's doubling very fast, then it's like very soon it can be like millions, so it's like,
Yes.
yeah, so it's like one example that is like quite recent. Yeah, something similar, like with the fiat crisis, for example, uh, Chinese yuan, like the digital, or generally yuan has just like maybe less than 3% of the market for global payments, like so.
Mhm.
And let's say dollar has like 42, euro has like 35, something like that, around that, like these kind of numbers. And
Mhm.
yuan, the Chinese yuan, has like less than 3, so it's like less than, let's say, 10 times less, or
Yeah.
even more, so yeah, but it can grow fast, because let's say Balaji says like he built like biotech company that also included like a robotic kind of setup, or something like with some robotic arms, like for some analysis of some, like rare diseases, I don't know. So he
Mhm.
had like some robotic kind of, not a factory, but like, so he built, let's say, he helped to launch USDC at Coinbase,
Yeah.
and he also helped to build like a robotic factory or something like that,
Mhm.
close to that. And he says that, okay, he has a personal experience with both of those things, and so he knows personally that it's much easier actually to build uh, to launch a digital currency than to build a factory, so
Mhm.
let's say Chinese, they have built like loads of factories, of course, like, I don't know, they started from the textile industry, and over decades, over 40 years, once they embraced capitalism, um, during the Deng Xiaoping era and later on. So now they were like climbing the ladder of difficulty of industrialization and of the value chain. And now I don't know if you have seen like those cars that they are producing. Like now there was like this kind of aha moment, or kind of like a special moment of maybe a bit of a panic, I don't know,
Mhm.
but behind the closed doors, because there was this Shanghai Auto Show. It's like a B annual. car show, auto show,
Mm-hmm.
like a fair. And well, it was postponed because of COVID. So after 3 years, now this was the first year after 3 years,
Okay.
and so people could see like how much progress the Chinese made in 3 years. They had like the BYD. They have a special brand. I think Yang Wang is the name, and it's like the U8. And it's like a car that looks like Prado, like the
Mm-hmm.
Toyota Prado, but it has like four motors. It's an electric
It's
vehicle,
electric.
and
Okay.
it's yeah, and it can do the tank turn, so it can turn like
Yeah.
like a tank. But this U8 kind of looks like it's yeah, I mean it's gonna be sold soon, But also BYD has another like I mean they have many vehicles, and they're quite big in China, and they might just be selling those vehicles also in Europe and elsewhere very soon. I mean they're selling already in Norway. And they
Mm-hmm.
have also, I think, one that is called Seagull. I mean, they have one that is called Seagull, but I think this is the one that is like, it's like it costs like $10,000 or something like that, or 12,000.
Mm-hmm.
It's like very cheap, and it has like a range of 300 kilometers or something like that. So it's like cheaper than, let's say, Toyota Aygo or some small
Mm-hmm.
Toyota like Yaris or something like that. Yeah, I mean, so uh, I mean, that's like the broader point is like I think also the Western car makers might face really big difficulties, to put it mildly, and they might actually, some of them might go bankrupt, as they might be just outcompeted. They have also, like, some of them have like hundreds, like $100 billion of debt. Toyota has quite a lot of that. So, but the larger point is like, so it's quite difficult to build a factory. And it's quite difficult actually to build like, I don't know, like world class products in those
Mm-hmm.
factories. So it's much more difficult than to launch a currency, let's say.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
okay, so
think it largely on I think a recent podcast I was listening with I think it was with Joe something. He said, yeah, the same thing. Like it's very hard to build a 300 say billion company than to build a say a trillion product, a trillion worthy product, or a company worth trillions of dollars. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, yeah. So the point is that um yeah, I mean, so something that is has like 2.5, or I don't know, 2.9% of global market share of payments, let's say digital yuan, they can make some kind of changes to it, or they can launch another currency or something like that, and it's like much easier than, let's say, to build a big factory. So
Mm-hmm.
and if they are the factory of the world, so they might be just like having like better cards in their hands, because it's like the US wants to like onshore their businesses from China to the US, and it's a good idea, but it will take years, probably, because it's like it took 40 years for China to get where they are now. And um, and in some areas, I don't know, like shipbuilding and some other, like they're like, I don't know, 10 times better than the US, so it's like 10x or more,
Mm-hmm.
and it's some like infrastructure build out, like they could be even like 100x better. So at the point, at the current points, today, I mean. So it's just like kind of there was an example with the digital yuan, that like something that is small and it might be like dismissed, like because okay, they have capital controls, and so nobody will be using yuan or something. But okay, but some countries are starting to use yuan,
Mm-hmm.
like I don't know,
Yeah.
France even, you know.
Yeah.
So
Brazil.
yeah, Brazil. Yeah, so I mean, this is like 1 year, it looks like very small, but it can go exponential, because it's kind of, it's like if they make some tweaks to it, I think you can just download an app, and Yeah, just go, it's just like, I don't know, downloading Coinbase or something like that. So yeah, I mean, so basically Balaji thinks that it might be, he talks about crypto in this sense that it might be something similar to remote work, like it was like kind of on the periphery or not so popular. Let's say it was just like only few people were, I don't know, working remotely, like full time, like a remote, fully remote. But then during COVID, it was like, it became very popular. Or let's say even like these delivery services, they were like, okay, it's just who cares? Like some startup guys like doing some delivery services, but they became like the vital infrastructure, like part of the vital infrastructure, like during COVID times. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that's I think that's very interesting, Jakub. Balaji also talks about the danger of social media and the need of need to bully-proof your social supply chain. Maybe if you can talk about that also and try to explain what it means.
Yeah, so yeah, imagine like a supply chain, right, of some products, and you have something similar. Is like it's like some another Balajisms. Maybe we should have a separate article about. So it's like social supply chain, but he has also like the information supply chain. Yeah, he says like, okay, the information supply chain is broken, but like it's like a similar metaphor, but it's like your social supply chain. So basically, it's like let's say you are a CEO of a company, and let's say, it's like when Elon, he kind of canceled their PR department, and he just went direct. But basically, a kind of maybe non-obvious point that Balaji has around this is, so it's like, okay, all your contacts. So it's like we also, before we discuss social war, so it's kind of connected to it. Like, so it's like a war that is happening on social media. And it's like people you can't like invade other, like, let's say the blue tribe or the red tribe, or but what Balaji calls like the tech tribe, so like a gray tribe. So, but like physically, but you can invite people's minds, but you can also like cancel some nodes in the network, or you can try to turn, let's say, red, you can to blue, you can like try to flip them, or let's say, as the Twitter files shown, people get cancelled or deplatformed or just shadow banned. So it's kind of like yeah, it's kind of like just deranked. Yeah. So okay. So, but the non-obvious point is like, what are your how to make your social supply chain more robust? So, uh, yeah, because some, like the non-obvious point here is that actually, it kind of depends what periodicals, like what media is your like close circle reading. Let's say your employees, your family members, and yeah, some other contacts, colleagues. So because if let's say New York Times starts to write like bad, like kind of hit pieces on you, let's say, or on your company, like Coinbase, they had some kind of like, they tried to be apolitical in the workplace. So like they said like no activism, something similar what like now Elon did, like he kind of let go of like 80% of Twitter, and the Twitter is still running, like they're delivering new services. So he kind of like let go of people who were kind of like busy instead of work. Um, but the important point is like, okay, so what kind of media are these people reading? So because if that media, let's say that like something like New York Times, if they attack you, and let's say also another prestige media, so it's like he says, Balaji says that soft power is stochastic, meaning like it's just probabilistic. Is like it's not deterministic in a way that the media can't fire you, you know. But if they start writing like lots of articles, so let's say tens of articles, so you might get actually eventually fired, you know. Like if you are, I don't know, if you are some kind of like bureaucrat, it's more difficult because often these bureaucrats are like anonymous. They don't have, you don't know which agency are like, people usually don't track like these bureaucrats that but let's say if you are a politician, you can get fired, you know. So let's say like Nixon got fired by the media, so because of you know, the Watergate and stuff like that. But it's like an interesting point. So it's like it's like the corporate overtake of the US, because it's like basically it's also corporate media, right? So yeah, so I mean, the media have power to, let's say, destroy your company. Stochastically, maybe one article will not do it, but 10 articles from different media might do it. And in that case, it's kind of important, like what kind of people are in your social supply chain, because it might be. You know, it's like the Manchurian Candidates kind of thing. It's like it's a book and also a movie, but it's like you know, usually actually even in these like PR departments, they are like the former journalists, and they're like friends with the current journalists, like the corporate journalists. And so if suddenly your company is like attacked, and very often it's just like very tribal, so like, I don't know, Coinbase, I don't think they didn't do anything bad, you know. They were just attacked because they basically wanted to focus on work and not on politics at workplace. So but often these people in these companies, like when they are like subscribers to these periodicals like New York Times, especially if they are like former journalists working for PR department, they're actually siding with the newspaper, you know. It's like their eyes turn red, you know. It's like this Manchurian Candidate kind of metaphor. So they might go south on you, says Balaji, you know. So they might actually either kind of like complain, or they might like say that they will quit, or they want you to quit, you know, as a boss, as a CEO, you know. They might pressure you and stuff like that. So what Balaji says is maybe it's actually better for them and also for you to actually not work with your company, you know. So it's like it's good to like kind of bully proof. It's not like bulletproof, but bully-proof your social network or your social supply chain. So that's the idea. So it's maybe like yeah, like be careful like who you hire, I know, or who is in your circles. And it's like, I don't think it's like, the point is not to be like anti-woke, but it's to be like post-woke, or to be like, you know, it's like you live and let live, you know. So there might be other people with other opinions, like more conservative or more, I don't know, left-wing, or yeah, or centrist, or whatever. But like you just don't put like don't have people who think that they should be in charge like of opinions of others or something like that. So that's the idea of the social supply chain.
Okay. It's I think that's very clear that social media has a lot of power, and with that power comes responsibility, as you said. But I think we need to be aware of the dangers of social media and how it can be used to manipulate us. We need to think critically and not fall for every viral meme or trend that comes along. And also, we need to choose our sources of information wisely, so we are not just consuming a monoculture of ideas. Well, Jakub, thanks for your time. It's been a pleasure having you on the podcast. I mean,
thank you, Duke. The pleasure is mine. It's always great talking to you.
Well, that brings us to the end of this episode. We hope you enjoyed the conversation with Jakub Simek. Please don't forget to subscribe, give this episode a thumbs up, and be sure to come back next week for another episode. Until then, this is Mtambo, and don't forget to do good.